Okay, I'm going to try to take a video of, a quick video of a project that I've been working on for a few years, not steadily. I've been doing a lot of kayaking, probably for 12 years, and I found that as I got older, it was a little more challenging to row the distances that I had rowed in the past. So I thought, if I put a motor on, I would be able to kind of row in motor at my leisure, and still be able to kind of explore faraway places. This is an ocean kayak, a Scupper Pro. I believe it's close to 16 feet. I might be mistaken, but it's certainly close to that. And it's a great kayak to row. Actually, I bought it as a result of some reading that I did many years ago. I believe it was Mike's Kayak Journal on the internet, and he did extensive rowing using a Scupper Pro. So I had a tandem for some time and decided to just go with the single kayak. The motor on this, I believe, is a rebranded Game Fisher motor. It had something that suggested that it was sold through Sears. I think it was called a Magnum 33 or something. My understanding is it's about 3.5 horsepower. I had to do a fair bit of modification to get it to dimension right with the kayak. I had to cut the drive shaft of the exhaust about 8 inches to bring it down. Let's see if I can back it out here. To bring it down so that the cavitation plate, which is something that I enlarged here just to see if I could keep it a little bit higher when I'm kind of scooting along, for as much scooting as I'm inclined to do. And that job wasn't real complicated, but it certainly helped that I had like a small mill, a lathe, and a welder. So you can kind of see the modifications that I made to the mount. And there's the front. Okay, this wire here allows me I'm going to beach if it becomes very, very shallow before I hit shore. What I can do is I can pull this, and what it does is, you can see it tips the boat up, or tips the motor up, and then I hook this handle over this stick that's sticking through one of the scupper holes in the boat. And what that allows me to do is hold the motor up without tipping it so far as that it might begin to leak gas and make a mess. But it's out of the water, so I can row. And it rows very nicely. Even actually with it down in the water, if it's straight, you certainly can row. I wouldn't want to have to row at any distance, but it's very rowable and easy to control. Let's see, the pontoons I might put in because I was unclear as to how stable the boat would be with the motor on it. The kayak is in my opinion, very stable, but I didn't know how it would react with the motor and a slightly higher center of gravity. But as it turns out, even without the pontoons, it's great. I can lean into turns, allowing it to turn a little bit sharper than it might otherwise. Here I have the steering rod, and what that allows me to do, here's the controls up front, and it allows me to steer the motor. So it's just a matter of getting used to it being kind of an odd steering configuration, but it doesn't seem to be too bad. And I have it here with a spring that ideally will pull it forward, and that's going to have the motor so that, again, ideally, it's going to kind of move in a circle. The throttle is on a pretty good spring, so it should shut down. The engine idles real nice. I'm real pleased with it. This is only the second time out. And let's see, I made a little bracket so I can hold the oar, or the paddle, I guess is what it would be called for a kayak, on the side of the boat, out of my way. Yeah, let's see what else. Here's kind of the steering setup. This is something that pivots quite a number of degrees. Again, this is for tilting the motor. This here is kind of a dead man's switch. I can pull it from here with this little ball, and this goes through the stick, and also I can hook it onto my life jacket. So ideally, if I fall overboard, it'll pull it automatically. That hasn't been tested, but it appears like it has potential for working. So what I'm going to do is start it up again. I'm going to see if I can motor off. I don't have a tripod or anything, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to work. Okay, I'm going to hold the camera with one hand. Okay, give it a pull. Okay. Okay, now one of the last times I tried getting on, I fell off. So let's hope that doesn't happen this time around. Let's see. I'm gonna put the camera down. Okay, here I am. Okay, here's the controls, and as you can kind of see, ideally, I've got arrows straight forward. It's going to turn the bow of the kayak to the right, and pulling it back will turn the bow to the left. So let's see, since I'm going to want to go left at this point, I'm going to go back. I don't know whether it's running rich. Okay, let's see what we can do back here. Okay, let's see. Now I've been noticing, I just felt it again for the second time, when I de-accelerate, I feel a bit of a clump, so I'm wondering, since the pivot on the motor for tilt is not anchored in like a specific position, I was thinking that the weight of the prop assembly would hold the motor down in the water. But quite possibly, when I accelerate a little harder, the motor might kind of lift a bit from the tilt, and then when I de-accelerate, it drops back in place. I am not sure I see that as really a negative. Okay, I'll sit and idle for a bit. Okay, so this video from Mr. Gizmo here is regarding an Ocean Kayak Scupper Pro. You can look that up. I believe Ocean Kayak still sells them. A Game Fisher, probably a mid-70s Game Fisher 3.5 horsepower 2-stroke motor. I had to shorten the shaft housing, and the exhaust to be able to get it so that it wasn't sitting real high. I probably could have figured out how to change the mount, but the motor would be sitting way up and it would look goofy, and I don't like goofy. So this seems to work fine. Motor starts right up. It's great. I bought it about 6 years ago. Had it sitting in my shop as a project to be done and just never got around to it. But once I got the mill and the lathe, although I can't say I really needed either of them, it left me a bit more confident that if I ran into some snags, those machines would come in handy. But really it was all pretty much hacksaw, grinder. When you shorten stuff, you have to make sure that you shorten everything exactly the same, and you want to make sure that once you shorten it, it's just where you want it, or perhaps a little more, because if you shorten it too much, putting it back to where it needs to be would be a real hassle. So anyways, the motor, the mount was really straightforward. I put a couple of screws into the kind of, I'll say the hull. Maybe you can see that there. And I used some like inserts, threaded inserts to kind of melt into the hull, so that would hold real strong. And then I used kind of a special plastic epoxy. And so far, again, only my second time out, I've not had any problems with it coming loose. So I'm going to say goodbye. Okay, take care. Stay safe.